October 24th. It is 7:02 p.m. I'd like to call our regular council meeting to order. At this moment, if I can please have a moment of silent meditation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call?
Roll call, Mayor Cubillos.
Here.
Councilperson Dreyer.
Present.
Councilperson Roman.
Present.
Vice Mayor Nickerson is not here. Councilperson Mathis is not here yet. Also, for the record, present is Janice Jacoby, Village Clerk, Interim Chief Huffnagel, Christy Alou, Interim Village Manager, Councilperson Mathis.
I get a motion of approval of the agenda as is? A motion's been made by Councilperson Mathis, second by Councilperson Roman. All in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, the agenda passes. At this time, I would like to go ahead and acknowledge any special visitors and/or presentations. At this meeting, we have none today. So we're going to go ahead and move on to good and welfare. At this time, if anybody would like to come up at the first good and welfare to address us with any point.
Harold Mathis, 420 Northeast 90th Street. I apologize for being late, but I was late for a very good reason. I think that as a council, we really need to take a look at 90th Street. I was stopped by residents because their son was almost hit by a car. It's a thoroughfare. Everybody knows it. Everybody uses 90th Street to go to Publix. We really need to do something. Somebody's going to get hurt really, really bad. Kid was this close from getting swiped by a car that was doing more than the speed limit. So I think we really, really need to take a look at this. I've already spoke to my block captain. He's already initiated a petition to get either humps or a partial street closure. So I think it's something that we really, really need to look into. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on good and welfare? All right, hearing none, I want to go to the first agenda item. This agenda item, I put it up for discussion at the Public Affairs Committee meeting. We spoke in great length with the committee about the idea of what this means. And basically, to explain agenda item one, is one of the things that comes up often with our residents is better communication, better communication, better communication. So a thought that I brought to the committee was, I sort of took a look at how we run business and how we run meetings, and I sort of thought of the time frame that I've been on the council, and I looked at the committee meetings. The committee meetings have sort of been, they've been every other month, they've been every month. They used to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, then they were Monday and Tuesday, and it just seems to be a little loosey-goosey. So one of the things that I thought after I got elected mayor was, when I realized that I had to have a State of the Village address, I remember when I was a council person and I would attend the State of the Village that the former mayors would have had, there was little to no attendance. And I kind of attribute it because it was never planned. Like it was either in May or it was April, it was a Saturday, it was what have you. So when I thought about it, I was like, the idea that I had, I was like, hey, let me do it the fourth Tuesday in August because it's the 1 month we don't meet. And residents are used to coming here on the fourth Tuesday because they know that's sort of the time we meet. So I've had 3 State of the Village, and I found them to be quite successful. They've been very great turnout, each one in 15, 16, and 17. I think maybe it has to do something with, people like to plan, and people like to have a plan. Everybody has to work. Everybody has kids. So seeing the success of that, I started thinking of the committee meetings, and especially because I believe that we are doing a better job using the committee meetings as a forum for better discussion and voting. I believe the committee meetings right now, the way they are is they're Mondays and they're Tuesdays, and then we used to have 3, and then we used to have 3. So what I proposed to the council is, hey, what if we made El Portal a Tuesday was sort of government night? And what that really means is the residents will know that on any given Tuesday, for the most part, we are going to be here talking and discussing and strategizing and doing good things for the community. Initially, when I came to the committee, I proposed having There's 4 Tuesdays for the most part on a week, and a month. So I proposed 2, 2, and 2, and then the fourth Tuesday would be the council meeting. Councilperson Roman, via email to the clerk, had recommended something else, so we listened to that. But actually, it was the manager and the clerk that said, well, we like the idea, but we think every Tuesday is a little much. What if we did 3 meetings on the first Tuesday, 3 committee meetings, 3 committees on the second Tuesday, and then your commission meeting on the council meeting on the fourth Tuesday? So after much back and forth, the Public Affairs Committee liked that option best. We said we can have 3 committee meetings on the first Tuesday, and we would align them to make sense. So for example, code enforcement, public safety, and public works are probably all together. And then the other ones that'd be grouped together would be P&Z, public affairs, and admin and finance. So then we'd have 1 week for the clerk in the event that we need to do notices, resolutions. The clerk has that week to be able to get that done. And to add a little more to that, another thing that we seem to miss the boat on is our budget workshop. And there's no surprise when the trim notice comes out. The trim notice is always going to come out in June. That's no surprise. The manager and the mayor generally gets it by June, in the middle of June, and the last trim notice, which is the anticipated ad valorem for the following year, it comes out on July 1st. So there's no surprise. So as a result, it would make most sense as if along with this, we agreed as a council, and if the council votes on this, I'll ask the attorney for resolution, sort of a policy where then in July, the second Tuesday would be our budget workshop. So that way, we already know where we're gonna be throughout the year. It should not be a surprise. We should not be, sort of chasing our tails at this point. We should know that in the second Tuesday of July, not only are we gonna identify, start reviewing our budget, because we're gonna have our ad valorem estimated for the new year, then we're gonna realize where that missing gap is, and we can identify our legislative priorities, so that we can all have a game plan, and it's all on a calendar. The residents will know, the council will know, so there's no more, we missed the boat on are we gonna do the rollback, or we're not gonna do the rollback? So this is something I proposed to the committee. The committee voted to bring it to full council for discussion, so that if we agree on something, if this is an idea that you all like, then we'll move it to, via resolution with the attorney, and we can do a reading in November.
Also present for the record, Vice Mayor Nickerson, Joel Geller, Village Attorney.
So I know Vice Mayor Nickerson and Councilperson Mathis was at that meeting, so I don't know if Councilwoman Roman or Councilperson Dre has any comments or questions or recommendations, or they wanted to say, yeah, let's go for it.
Are we then agreeing that the first Tuesday we'll have those 3 committees? You said Public Works, Planning and Zoning, and Public Safety?
It should be public safety, code enforcement should be together, and then either Public Works or P&Z, whichever, and then the following 3 would be Public Affairs. Yes, sir, sorry.
If you have a choice in setting when, planning and zoning sometimes requires advertising before council meeting, so it would make sense to have that earlier in the.
Okay, excellent, first Tuesday, makes sense, okay.
That's how it is now. It's public affairs, public works, and planning and zoning.
So the first Tuesday would be planning and zoning, code enforcement, and public safety. The second Tuesday would be admin and finance, public affairs, and public works.
So you're changing it around.
Yeah, and the reason I'm putting admin and finance at the second Tuesday is because if we're gonna do our second budget workshop in July, the second Tuesday, it would be in lieu of the admin and finance, so it makes more sense.
Sure, that works. A motion to?
So is there a motion to accept it?
Move. Second.
A motion's been made by Councilperson Mathis, a second is by Councilperson Dre. Madam Clerk, can I get roll call?
Roll call. Councilperson Dreyer.
Yes.
Councilperson Roman. Councilperson Mathis.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
So Attorney Geller, we'll send this to you so we can do a resolution, and we'll vote on it. And
Let me say, Mayor, that, although, yes, you have a resolution for everything you do, the exception to that really is just your internal rules of procedure. For instance, if you, as I understand, you may have already done or are going to do, you're going to change the date of the November meetings,
yes.
apparently. Is that actually done yet, or are you going to do that tonight?
To my recollection, and I don't know if the clerk can correct me, I think we do it every year at the beginning, so usually
Correct.
at the October meeting, we agree for the calendar, because we're starting a new fiscal year, so we voted on October of 16 for these dates.
My point is that something like that doesn't need a resolution.
Okay,
And this is just, it's not really action that you're taking on an item. It's just an internal, like, housekeeping thing for
Okay.
the council. So
perfect.
You had a motion, the motion passed, the minutes reflect that. That's the
Sufficient?
rare exception that
Okay.
doesn't need a resolution.
Excellent, perfect, even better. Okay, thank you.
And when would be the effective date?
January, yeah.
2018? Okay. Are we specifically, okay, the first Tuesday, so how we looked at our calendar years, the first Tuesday, is usually New Year's falls on,
If it's New Year's Eve, then it would,
The first Tuesday is January 2nd.
so it would be the 9th.
so we'll start at 9.
Yeah. I mean, unless y'all
Well,
want to be here
actually,
January
The
2nd.
16th is a holiday as well,
The 16th? What is it?
Martin Luther King.
No, it's not, it's the 15th.
No, it's the 16th.
No, it's 15th.
Oh, I'm looking at 17th, sorry.
January 15th, okay.
Third Tuesday.
Okay, all right, perfect.
So we'll start at 9th
The
then?
9th, yes.
With admin, planning and zoning, and public works.
No, it'll
No,
be public safety, code enforcement, and P and Z.
They're being switched.
And then then it's gonna be public works, public affairs, and A and F, admin and finance. First, second. And then that month is a long month. All right. Any other questions? Great, hearing none, we're gonna go to the first resolution, Resolution 2017-29, Stormwater
Wait.
Revision.
We didn't vote on,
What's the
The
second
fourth.
bullet?
Oh, no, it was only one. It was all one.
no, we only did a motion on, oh,
It was
the
all,
motion
it was,
encompassed
it was
everything?
encompassed everything, yeah, sorry, there was bullet points, there's only one agenda
Okay.
item, where, the first and second Tuesday, the state of the village is already on the fourth Tuesday,
Okay.
and then the annual budget workshop would be the second Tuesday, it all encompasses. Attorney Geller?
Resolution 2017-29, a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, authorizing the interim village manager to enter into an agreement with Canoni Associates, Inc. to perform stormwater master plan preparation services for the improvement of the village's stormwater system, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
All righty, so I believe this is the, one of the last components, as we move forward with this. Is there a, with subject to sewer on Phase 1, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2017-29?
I'll move.
It's been moved by Councilperson Mathis, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Dre. At this time, Council, I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting and open up for public comments before we move for a vote. At this time, I'm going to close the council meeting, and if anybody would like to come up and ask us any questions with regards to Resolution 2017-29, Stormwater Revision Plan Contract. All right, hearing none, I'm going to close public comments, open it up back to the council. Before I ask for a vote, are there any questions or comments about this? Yes, Attorney Geller.
And Mayor, we had discussed some minor resolutions, revisions to the resolution. I'll get that. And I just wanted to reflect that I've spoken with Canoni, with Steve Wiles. We've agreed on them. We're gonna, once this is passed, we'll write that up and then get the final sign. But
Where the manager will sign the contract.
They have agreed to all of the revisions.
Okay, perfect. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, may I get roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Dreyer.
Yes.
Councilperson Roman.
Yes.
Councilperson Mathis.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, great, thank you. I2, Resolution 2017-30, Lobbying Firms Renewal Agreement. Attorney Geller, can you please read it to the record?
Resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, to authorize the interim village manager to enter into new agreements with Southern Strategies and Ackerman to retain the firms for state lobbying services, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you. At the Admin and Finance Committee, the committee wanted to move forward with our lobbying firms. The former manager had continued on a month-to-month basis, but we needed to solidify for this legislative session. And according to the resolution, it takes us through the end of April 2018 because it's an early session. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 2017-30? Motion made by Councilperson Roman. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Dre. I'm going to close the council meeting, open up for any public comments. At this time, I want to close the council meeting, open up for any public comments as it relates to renewing our lobbying agreement that we have with Ackerman and Southern Strategy. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close public comments, open it up back to the council. Any discussion before I request a vote? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Roll call, Councilperson Dreyer.
Yes.
Councilperson Roman. Councilperson Mathis.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Resolution 2017-31, Escotrata Services, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, services contract. Attorney Geller, can you please read it to the record?
Resolution 2017-31, a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of El Portal, Florida, to approve the agreement with Ecostrata Services, Inc., to provide professional management services, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
All right, great, thank you. Again, this is also another an item that went through committee with regards to our current grant writer who is here today. We need to always solidify our agreements with our vendors through a resolution when it's more than $5,000. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2017-31? Motion by Councilperson Dre. Is there a second? Second by Councilperson Mathis. I'm going to close the council meeting and open up for any public comments. Hearing none, I'm going to close the public comments, open it up back to the council. Any questions with this contract before I request a vote from the clerk?
Can,
Yes.
I know what it encompasses, the contract encompasses, but I didn't know if we wanted to let the residents know what the contract encompasses.
Escotrata Services, he is our grant writer. He is the one that writes the grants for the police department, for our trees, and for any other avenue in terms of grants that we have applied for. He's also, this firm is also the one that applied for the grant for the nature trail, which we received funding for. And so we are going into an agreement with him to continue the services of grant writing for the village.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, may I have roll call?
Roll call, Councilperson Dreyer.
Yes.
Councilperson Roman.
Yes.
Councilperson Mathis.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
I want to go back real quick on the agenda, my apologies. I need a motion to approve the minutes for September 26th.
So moved.
They were emailed, they're large,
Yeah.
it's a big packet, so they were emailed.
By the next, yeah, they were attached. By the next council meeting, we're going green. I'm getting those iPads already and the stuff, so you're not gonna get anything. Everything's gonna be to the email.
Okay.
There is a motion, I need a second. Did anybody have a chance, if you didn't have a chance
I
to
read
read
it.
them, we can move them.
Just a-
You have a second? Okay, so it's been made by Councilperson Mathis, and it's been seconded by Dre. It's a very thick document that was emailed to us.
Email today?
Mm-mm. When was it emailed?
The same day you get the packets.
Oh. Double check if you done, then ask the clerk to resend it to you, okay? All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nay? All right, I needed to get that done, okay. at now? Oh, look at that, okay. But we're gonna go into the committee reports, attorney, manager, and the mayor. The first up is me. Couple of points that I'm going to mention is, I really would ask the council that this year is, if you all go to Tallahassee, if you don't go to Tallahassee, I think one of the things that we really need to listen to what's happening as it relates to the legislator is home rule. I received an email today with an update as far as what senators or representatives would like to do on a state level, and and this is really something, because we have to remember that what may work for one county, what may work for one city is not gonna work for all of us. We really need to be, proactive, and when you see things come through, whether, and I'll make sure that I'll be vocal in the council when we need to call, not just our own state senators and our state representatives, but, we have to ensure that we have the ability to do what we know is the best for El Portal. Tallahassee does not know necessarily all the time what's best for the village of El Portal. And it's really, really important that we stay connected to that, because that's really, really, really important. I saw a couple of bills come through my email today, and that was a little concerning. So, and I'll be sure to, as I get them, make sure that the clerk sends them to you also, you all are reading what's going on. Because nothing worse than having a disaster or having, whatever can happen to our village, and we are completely have our hands tied because everything is preemptive to the state has to move and decide on things. So it's really, really important that we are proactive, and that's one of the things that I'm proactive with as part of the Florida League of Cities. That is their big thing, is let cities get to work and let them have home rule and have that decision. I want to thank Chief Huffnagel, the clerk, the manager, Corporal Sharp, also Captain Carroll, and we all went to best practices. There was 3 really good sessions. One of them is on how to run an efficient meeting. The other one was lessons learned from Irma, and the other one was cybersecurity. And I think that all of that resonated to us. So we are, actually, the manager is going to be having a meeting with cybersecurity, because it's really scary how someone really can come in here and literally less than 5 minutes, they can download a lot of information from the police officers' computers, because there's not the best security in here. So that was a very interesting session. The next one was lessons learned from Irma. I think the best part about that session was the fact that I believe that we could have run that session, because everything that they said as far as what to do, I felt we did. So we should have been really, that was a proud moment for us, because we were like, there's nothing better when you're sitting as part of the audience of a panel and you're nodding your head and you're like, yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that. So that was really good. And then the last one was how to run an effective meeting, which I think we're moving along that direction as far as ensuring that all our discussions go through committee and respect sort of the process, and then bring things to council when things are ready to vote on is the way to go. And use resolutions more, because I think in the past was something that we probably could have done a little better, right, Attorney Geller? So the other thing, there was this conversation has come up. It is one of those things that it comes up, and until a resident doesn't bring it up, it doesn't sort of resonate or remind you. But there was a post that went on next door, and I actually ended up calling the resident on another matter. But in Central Florida, I believe they did a regional compact as it relates to their canals. So it's something that for 2018 I'm going to take a look at, because if we try to attack or attempt to do anything with South Florida water management on a local level, becomes a little harder. There's strength in numbers when you do a regional compact. So I spoke to Ian, and we're going to talk a little more on how maybe in 2018 we can take a more proactive approach with our C7 canal. I know that we have annual cleanings, but there is much more we can do possibly from our position, and through potentially a regional compact, which would encompass a couple of other cities. So I wanted to just put that out there. It's a very preliminary conversation, but I thought it was worth mentioning. The nature trail expansion, Robert Ruano left, but we touched briefly on it. We actually are going to, as we're in the final stages, we are actually gonna request a meeting with Steve from Pannoni, because before we even move forward with the nature trail expansion, we wanna be sure that there's no point in doing it if there's phase one's gonna be happening out there. So that's where we're at with the nature trail expansion, is that even though it's all approved through the school, you can't have this big project and have a ribbon cutting of a huge park, and then we're gonna have phase one. So, the manager will be requesting that meeting in the next couple of weeks about the nature trail expansion. Education Compact Initiative, Horseman has a new principal. We had started this process with the school board member last year. It's another great initiative to be able to work better with the school. I spoke to Dr. Mendigal at Best Practices, so I'm hoping that we can pick up where we left off to hopefully solidify it finally once and for all, our Education Compact. And I think that concludes my report for, I mean, there's a lot of little things I think the manager's gonna touch on. You know, we're almost done with the debris. I'll let her touch on that a little bit. But I think that pretty much concludes my report. If anything comes up, I'll go through it through another committee. Then we have Village Manager Interim Cristia Liu, her report.
Thank you, Mayor Carrillos. I have many pages, but I'm gonna make it quick. I'm gonna truncate all of this. This month has been filled, the month of October has been filled with 2 budget hearings, committee meetings, special council meetings, preparation for this meeting, deadlines and pushed back deadlines because of Hurricane Irma. So we've been hustling, trying to get everything completed and to be responsive to those deadlines that we missed because of the hurricane. But speaking of hurricane, I'll just give you a quick update on that. We are really ahead of the curve, which is fantastic. We did go to the best practices conference on October 13th, and that's where we found out we were really doing well. We are ahead of a lot of other municipalities, and they're actually asking us about best practices, you know, like what we did and who we're using and how we managed this whole process. So that was, you know, very reassuring, especially now that the bills are coming in. So, but at this stage, we're, as you see, Raider Church is, you know, the debris mound has diminished significantly. I mean, we're down to just enough to put in a dustpan, so we're happy about that. We're also at the point where we're doing a few removal special cases for tree removal, stump removal, those kinds of things. And our next step will be just replacement and repair of traffic signs, sidewalks, the stormwater drain cleaning and maintenance and those kinds of things. So that's where we're at for next steps. And those are all reimbursable under our FEMA, for the, you know, FEMA recoverable funds. And let's see, I'll move on to what's happening with our police. Right now, we're addressing all of those security shortfalls that came from an audit last month, but we are doing them very quickly. Acting Chief Hufnagel has been on it. She really has come through with getting laptops and ensuring that they're encrypted and taking care of a lot of those security measures that we had to address in order to be compliant. So I think we're on schedule, right? We have a due date coming up, so I think we're almost there. So we'll be prepared for that. And of course, we're excited about the upgrade of our server to a cloud server, so that's going to be fantastic as well. We are awaiting quotes for the footbridge and to ensure those cameras for monitoring will be placed. And that was a request from Councilmember Roman and and Vice Mayor Nickerson to ensure that those are monitored. So we'll be working on that as well. And our new police vehicles are being striped, and we are getting them Wednesday. That's tomorrow.
I saw a new one out there
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, so
I saw a new one out there
yes,
today.
there's one out there right now that's not striped. But yes, we have these long-awaited police vehicles, so they'll be, you know, we'll have a little parade maybe tomorrow. Yeah. So moving on to just some code enforcement things and just some yard cleanups. We're securing some quotes, and with our existing landscaping companies as well as a resident who wanted to um, uh, submit a bid as well to clean up yards that were abandoned, or we haven't had any, seen any activity in terms of, cleanup or just maintenance. So we're getting those, and I hope to have all of that information to the council tomorrow, because I think we're ready, almost ready to make a decision on that. And let's see. I've continued to work on the budget with our CFO and the mayor and the whole council, since we had our final budget submitted last week, and we're moving forward. Happy to have a good in the black budget passed, so we're
Yeah.
happy for that. And administratively, we are continuing with our operations here in the village, but also addressing some position changes and updates. And so new job descriptions are in the works now, with the assistance from Council Member Roman, as well as the Administrative and Finance Chair, Council Member Mathis. And we've hosted a number of events. We are happy about our food truck night that was last weekend with the assistance of the Women's Club. That was a very nice turnout and a good evening, despite that rain at the end, but it was a good time. And we are looking forward to our annual Halloween block party on Tuesday, October 31st. And I think, well, for now, that concludes my report to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, hearing none, we're going to go to the committees. First one up is Chairperson Nickerson for Public Affairs.
Hello, how's everybody doing? It's good to see everybody out here tonight that came out. The first thing I wanted to bring up, well, how you doing, Mr. Attorney, Ms. Manager? How you doing, Councilperson, Madam Mayor?
It's a lovely
Very
evening
good.
out there, Councilman. Lovely.
How you doing, Councilperson Mathis, Councilperson Dreher, Madam Clerk? The first thing I wanted to bring up was the manager touched on it briefly, and that was this Tuesday we do have our Halloween block party. Another great event created by our mayor that continues to bring more excitement to the community. It starts at 6:30 and it runs until 8:30 p.m. And it will be on 87th Street between the avenues of 3rd Avenue and 4th Avenue, Northeast 3rd Avenue through Northeast 4th Avenue. Okay, so that's this Tuesday, October 31st, our Halloween block party. It's a huge event. We have many people come out, fun event, DJ, everything that you would want. So make sure you come out here. There's not another like it in the county, in my opinion. So great job on that for our mayor, as always. Everything that she touches turns to gold.
Oh.
We also, what's wrong with that? We also have coming up our 80th anniversary. And the thing that I want to say about that, there's one thing that's pressing on that, the 80th anniversary, that I would like to bring up to the entire council. And we were here recently, a few weeks ago, and it came up, and the mayor was like, yeah, that's something that we really have to get on, which is location. Like, you guys, we really have to get on this location, like real fast.
I'm ready.
Our date we have is December the 7th or 9th?
9th.
The 9th is a Saturday. The 7th is the actual day, but we're going to celebrate the 9th, I believe,
The
which is
9th.
Saturday, which is right around the corner. And for anybody who does events, Councilperson Roman, she's an expert at throwing events and that type of thing. And our mayor also, Mayor Cabillo, she's also an expert at throwing events. So you guys know December the 9th, and it's right around the corner, and we do not have a location, and we need to find a location and make sure that location is available for that date. So I don't know what you guys want to do. I don't know what you guys want to do as far as that, but like that's something that we have to start emailing the manager, or like our own ideas, or clerk, or have like a some type of special meeting one night, or I don't know how you guys want to handle it, but that's something that we really have to get on if we want to make this come to actuality. Councilperson Mathis, I know the 80th anniversary also was something that you were focused on. Is there anything else you want to add on to that?
No, not, I mean, you touched on everything, but we are gonna have a special, 80th meeting to get moving on this, and, I sent an email to the clerk, and she'll reach out to everybody tomorrow to see what dates are.
Are you chairing the event?
We all are,
Oh, I wasn't sure.
we all are.
We
It's
are.
gonna be
Okay.
a joint effort.
Moving right along, besides that, I'm almost finished. I just would like to say to the clerk that the website is looking wonderful. The website has come a long way from before you were here. I love the pink in the website. It looks very, Councilperson Mathis, it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful in celebration of Breast Cancer Month, which is October. And the last two things I would like to say. So there's one thing I was thinking about. One thing I was thinking about, and another thing was the idea of a resident. But one thing I was thinking about, just, and I know we can't do it now, but going forward we might want to try to implement this a little bit more. When you go to the website, let's say if I'm a resident and I have to pay a fee for some type of alarm permit or some type of that. Like, there should be certain things that we should be able to pay on the website. And just through the website, through a credit card, and there can be like a processing fee of whatever amount of dollars that helps pay for that process. You know, whatever company we use to pay for that, whatever they charge us each month, we can have a processing fee to kind of help us pay for that each month. But that would be something that that just going forward would help us out and help out individuals with a lot of time. Just something that, you know, paying for normal permits and stuff over through their credit card over the website.
What committee would that fall under?
Administration,
Administration
finance.
Finance.
So maybe we can move that to
Yeah, we can move that to administration.
committee meeting.
Yeah. Also, and this kind of goes along with that. This was a suggestion of a resident that emailed me, and
That would incur costs.
yeah,
We discussed this.
If I can just add one thing, yeah. One of the things that we didn't bring forward, because I think there was a lot going on between all the projects that we're working on. We had asked our website designer to give us a proposal to redo our whole website, because it needs to be redone. We didn't bring it forward for this session. We might do it for the mid-year review, mid-year budget. But she's put together a sort of a whole encompass where it's gonna have an app and, you know, much more user-friendly. But again, it's something that we felt at this time, although it was necessary and needed, we had so many projects in the works, but it's something that we're probably gonna introduce probably at the mid-year, if not for the following year. Time goes by very quickly, but absolutely, while it looks great and it's come a long way, we're still not there yet. With regards to, you know, putting up rezos, ordinance, proclamations, paying online, you know, locating this and that, all that good stuff, yeah. And even an app or what have you, so, yes.
no, like you guys know,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to force
But for
anything down
sure.
anybody's throat, but that's just something I came up with. And the reason why, let me just say quickly, the reason why I came up with that idea was that I had a resident email me, and this resident emailed me, which was funny because over the past few months, I had, you know, we're a small village, so it's not, you know, hundreds of people, but I maybe had 4 other people contact me about this. So what they were contacting me about was that they were trying to get to the office to do something, but the office closes at 4:00 p.m. So they were saying they're not even off work yet, and the office closes at 4:00 p.m. So, was it 4:30 p.m.? So, so I was like, well, maybe if you guys can do some of that stuff online, then you guys don't have to worry about, you know, trying to, you know, take off early one day to make it to the office, you know, since it closes at 4:30. And their suggestion, I want to do the online thing. Their suggestion was, well, Omar, maybe you can talk to them about maybe one night a week or staying open a little bit later.
They do
Like,
on Wednesdays.
Is it? And Wednesdays is till what time?
It's till 6.
Okay, on Wednesdays it's
So
till 6.
tomorrow, it's till 6.
Okay, on Wednesdays it's till 6. All right, and so that's what was.
We should announce that.
Yes.
Next public, in your
Yeah.
newsletter.
Yes, so it's,
It's been at it's been at the last two newsletters.
okay.
When the times changed,
Yeah.
but I think the manager might want to add, with the whole new year coming and times are going to change, people are going to start working till 5 again. I mean, that time
Okay.
change was something that the former manager did, that was an experiment, but I
Okay.
think that she spoke to her staff already.
Okay, well, then that's perfect. All right, well, thank you very much, you guys, I appreciate it. That's my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Chairperson Nickerson. Chairperson Dre, Public Works.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
I'm gonna put it in big print.
I'm just gonna go ahead and thank our village manager, our village clerk, and our village attorney and the rest of the council for making, the next steps, making the project for the septic to sewer conversion phase 1, where we're at right now. And as well for approving the 2000 upgrade of the master plan for wastewater. In addition to that, we still have a couple of new tasks that we need to still not drop the ball, and we need to keep moving forward. So we requested basically just a special committee meeting for Public Works. Christia did send out the email to the rest of the Public Works Committee members, Omar and Claudia. So we're scheduling this for next Monday at 7 o'clock. There's some administrative tasks. Obviously, this is for the next end of quarter. So we want to make sure, we've asked Pennoni to provide us with all the next steps for Q4, just to make sure we do not drop any of the, activities, for both the projects. So I just want to hear it, want to bring it up to our mayor and vice mayor. Are you guys available next Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern time?
I got the email late, and I'll be sure to respond to the clerk tomorrow.
Sure.
For sure.
Okay, just, thanks.
No problem.
All right. And in addition to this, one of the resolutions that we passed was basically accepting the loan monies for the design phase. I understand there's some administrative, more completion of forms to be completed. There's a target date they would like to actually have this ready by Friday. And this is basically just securing, from what I understand, and the engineering firm is here, it's just to make sure we secure the grant money that we've been awarded for the septic to sewer conversion design for phase 1, and as well for the actual monies for upgrading our master plan from 2000 to today's date. So there's an application form. I know that has been submitted to Christia, but it will be, and who needs to sign this is our village mayor. So I want to bring that up to light. There's already, they would bring this application ready for this Friday. So I'm just bringing this, in light to everybody, so everybody's aware that there's this application. It's for both projects, so we need the mayor's signature on this, so that would be greatly appreciated. I saw the email, I was copied, and I think this was probably sent to our mayor. So, yes,
I got it.
so, thank you.
You're welcome.
And pretty much that concludes the report. A lot of our time has been, focusing on these projects to make sure we can, move them forward, and we can continue with, being on board with all the next activities. Again, thanks a lot to our village manager. You've done excellent, and for keeping up with all this activity. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilperson Dre. At this time, Chairperson Roman, no, that's me, sorry, apologize. Public safety. As the manager mentioned, the cars are in. There are a couple of things that I felt it's important, so I'm going to ask our acting chief, Hufnagel, to come up and brief us a little bit with regards to what you told the committee with FDLE compliance. So just if you can bring us up to speed as to where we're at with that.
Okay,
The laptops and desktops are being purchased because they needed to be encrypted. Our IT individuals are also getting their backgrounds done. We are working on trying to get everyone's backgrounds here also done. We're having a little bit of issue with our ORI number, so that's being worked on also. And the radios for the vehicles are being ordered also, because the new vehicles did not come with radios. And basically, right now, the only thing that we're pending on is, getting everybody's backgrounds done. And then after that, you have to take a small test on the computer. And basically, that's it.
The backgrounds are the NCIC, FCIC?
That's to be able, because of the ability that we have of civilians walking into the police department and the NCIC, FCIC computers there, that's why you also have to have that background done. IT is also giving me a quote on relocating it to see if it's possible we can relocate it, but regardless, because we do have sensitive other computers, we still need to have everybody done with their backgrounds. Okay?
And by everybody, you mean everybody who works here?
Everybody who works here and the council
Okay.
also.
When do you need that by?
Well, that's what we're working on. They're trying to verify our ORI number, because it seems to be having a little bit of problem, but FDLE has been notified, and Officer Burrell is also helping me with this. So it's the three of us, Corporal Sharp, Officer Burrell, and myself. We're all working on getting this done as soon as possible.
I'm sure Vice Mayor Nickerson, I don't know if they do it the same way, but I have we have, at my school, everybody has to be fingerprinted, and I do it through FDLE, and it's live scan. I can send you mine if that works. If not, if I have to do it again, it's fine, but I'll send you
Okay.
mine.
Okay.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, yes, Dade County Public Schools, we have to, we can't be employed by Dade County Public Schools and be around children without having a background.
Right.
And I just renewed mine, since every 5 years. I just renewed my FDLE. So I'll email it to three of you, so you have it. If that's sufficient, it's not, I'll do it again, it's fine.
Okay.
I'll do it
Okay.
again, no problem.
Also, we're getting a program for our inventory, since we've never actually had inventory done in the property room since we've been here. So we're finally getting a program for that. And it's not only going to work for the police department, but also for the city hall. So everything that comes in and out of the police department and city hall is going to be inventoried. Okay?
Excellent,
Question on the
yes.
background checks, is that annually or?
Well, since this is the first time that I'm coming across this, because we were supposed to be years, we were supposed to have this all done. So I'm gonna find out, especially with new people coming in, to see if everybody has to have it done yearly. And with council, every 2 years, the council changes or stays, then, yeah, we're gonna have to do it. I mean, I will confirm with them also on that. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Code Enforcement Chairperson Roman. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So for code enforcement, as the manager mentioned, we've received some quotes to cut some of the lawns of those houses that are abandoned or owned by the bank or into foreclosure. So hopefully we'll be moving forward and making a decision soon and trying to start to clean up some of those homes to help our village look better. I'm looking to move the code enforcement workshop and the recycling workshop to Saturday, November 4th. I should be confirming this with our recycling representative by tomorrow, but so far she did say, she confirmed she was available every Saturday. I just need to reconfirm that that date is still available for her. And if that's so, then we're looking to do it at 9:30 in the morning. And that would be it for code enforcement right now.
Okay, planning and zoning, I have a couple of things here. Planning and zoning, in November, we will see I believe our resolution for the marijuana dispensaries, medical marijuana dispensaries. I know that I have Megan here, Councilperson Roman, I know had sent an email with regards to where we're at with the schedule of fees. I know that was sent to us, but that's something, as I mentioned to you, items got to receive by the Wednesday before so they can get on an agenda, have enough time for all of us to review, as well as be able to provide it to our residents. So that will go in the November agenda. The attorney did review the Placerbia contract. He has, there's no problems with it, so we'll be moving forward with that. The next thing is, before Hurricane Irma hit, Tischler Bice was scheduled to fly in and talk at the P&Z meeting. We're probably not gonna be able to get him in until probably January, but what I'm gonna do in the interim is set up a conference call, so at least the manager has the opportunity to have a discussion with them, so they can bring her up to speed, so we'll be working on that. The manager and I did have a meeting with the owners of the church, just to sort of brief us on where they're at with the process. They're gonna probably be coming to the Planning and Zoning Board, I would say probably January. So I know that that definitely is moving forward, so that's exciting. And if you see them, don't forget to thank them, because they donated the parking lot so that we can have our staging site. And it really made them part of the community, and it really helped the process, because we had nowhere else. The manager turns around and she says, well, what are we gonna do if we have a hurricane next year? It's probably gonna be built out. And I'm like, well, when in January, we're gonna start negotiating a new place. So we're gonna start finding a place and put that in our book, as far as our emergency preparedness book. And then one thing I wanted to add was that at the special admin and finance meeting, when we did Attorney Geller's reviews, one of the things that we said that we were gonna move forward, and I wanna actually say we actually did it, is have weekly meetings with the attorney. So we had a weekly meeting with the attorney last week, where him and the manager and I met, and we were able to discuss all of this and get a lot of things done. So it really allowed us to move forward and get these resos done and get answers questioned, when we dedicate a good hour of closed doors, having that conversation. So it allows us to have more effective meetings. So I want to thank the attorney for making himself available, and it's something that we're going to hopefully commit to do on a weekly basis or monthly basis, at least to start off with. The other thing I wanted to say was, I think that was it. And that concludes my report for planning and zoning. Next, we have admin and finance, chairperson, councilperson Mathis.
Administration and Finance, the next coming meeting is going to be a pretty hefty meeting. There's a couple of agendas, resolutions that need to be passed. I'd also like to do, look at a quarterly audit, if we're capable of doing that. Also, there's a conference that's coming up for sound municipal financing, and I'd like to attend that, so I'd like to discuss that at the committee meeting, and that concludes my report.
Okay, Attorney Geller?
Yeah, I unusually do have a couple items tonight. I'll try not to, but since we're moving so quickly. The first, I just want to comment on something that you mentioned, Mayor, about the preemption that's taking place at the state level. I mean, it's really getting bad.
It's bad.
One heads up is, there now, for those of you who may have a concern with this issue, there's a real push for a bill on preemption.
For tree trimming? Is it tree trimming?
I'm sorry.
I thought it was a tree trimming on.
Oh, well, there's,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's out there too, but I was gonna talk about the local regulations of like puppy mills and things like that.
Oh.
The pet store industry is making a real push to have the state preempt that, so that all of the local regulations that control some despicable practices would be wiped out, and the state would be the only one, whatever the state law is, that's all you could do about it. So that's as a heads up. I actually spoke at the Florida Association of Counties meeting as moderator of a seminar on home rule. And there was someone present from that group that the Republican Party funds called ALEC. And they're, just for what it's worth, not to get too far in the weeds on this, but they support what's called Dillon's rule, and they're actively out there advocating for it. And it's something that basically says there is no home rule, that only those things that are absolutely specifically delegated by the state, specifically to the counties and the cities, would be things that they can legislate on. Now, home rule says, unless the state preempts it, you're free to do it. And Dillon's rule that they advocate, I mean, just the irony of it is, it's named after the former Chief Justice of the Iowa Supreme Court in the 1840s. And that's the model that they're trying to push on our state, because what could contemporary 21st century Florida be more like than 1840s Iowa? And the notion that cities and counties can't, I'll just close that with a comment that I made in debate on this last year. I pointed out to my esteemed colleagues that the same voters, the same constituents who have the wisdom to send all those people to Tallahassee are the very same voters who elect city and county officials and school board members. The same people. And they don't get any smarter when they walk into that Capitol building, those elected officials, that Capitol building. You walk into it, you're no smarter in the Capitol than you were before. It's just, it is on everything from taxation to local regulation of everything from, auto repair to bottled water. I mean, it's a full-on assault, and it's going to get worse this year. The newest speaker designate, who won't take office for another 5 years, just announced a full-on assault on cities and counties. So you hit it spot on there. It's a huge problem. I wanted to just comment that the manager and I held the first bargaining session with the PBA. We've received quite a list of things that they would like changed. And we'll be discussing those, but I'm going to use this opportunity to place on the record that we may need to have an executive session. Now, as you know, again, not to get too far in the weeds, everything we do is in the sunshine. But there are two exceptions to that. One is if we are actually a defendant in litigation and we want to discuss our litigation strategy. Obviously, doing that with the other attorney or party sitting in the room while you talk about, well, maybe we should offer them this, but if they don't take it, go up to this, would not be a really good idea for cities. So we are permitted to have executive sessions. Some people use the term shade session. I really don't much like that. A court reporter is present, and they take down every word that's said, but the tape is turned off. When the matter is resolved, that transcript from the court reporter becomes public. So the public does get to see who said what, who took what position, but the other side doesn't get to see it until the matter's concluded. And the other one is for pending labor negotiations. So at some point, the manager and I will have a presentation for you on that, but in order to have that kind of executive session, the attorney has to ask for guidance from the council. We don't vote at those sessions, but what we'll probably do is to try and set one up, either a night of committee, or more likely we would just schedule one maybe 30 minutes before a regular scheduled council meeting. Whether we'll be ready for, if November is actually the 14th, I'm not sure we're quite going to be ready for that. Maybe it'll be for, when did we set December? Do you know, Madam Clerk?
December meeting?
19th.
The 19th.
The 19th, okay. That's the third Tuesday?
Yes, yes.
So, possibly by then, but just at some point, we'll get some guidance from you. So I want to just put that on the record. The good thing is that, we're in negotiations, and it was at least, as I think maybe the chief will tell you, it was at least a very cordial session. So there's something to be said for civility in government. The third thing I wanted to talk about just for a moment, and I'm glad that Bus Irby is represented here. I will be bringing back an ordinance on marijuana. I understand this was discussed at a committee, but this is my opportunity to talk to all of you. I just want you to, my marching orders on it, at least from the committee, are to follow the staff recommendation. Now, understand the staff recommendation is that that the only locations where there can be what they call an MMTC, dispensary, is more than 1,000 feet from not only schools, but parks and a couple of other categories. The state law only requires that it be more than 500 feet from schools. So our proposal is significantly more restrictive, which we certainly can do. In fact, the law does give local government the right to ban it outright. Whether that's constitutional, in my opinion, is highly debatable. I don't know that you can give permission to ban something that 71% of the voters have approved. But the result of the ordinance that we would pass is that there are no locations in the village that qualify. It is possible that, as is pointed out in the staff report, that at some point in the future, uses would change and that might open a little window someplace. But that would basically mean that the schools shut down or that we close parks. And both are unlikely, let's say that. So just understand that if that's what we go forward with, you will in effect be saying that there is no place in the village that can be a dispensary. And I try not to comment on policy as much as I can, but if that's your intention, I don't understand why we're not just passing something that says you can't have one, which would at least be a lot more transparent and everyone could understand it. Or cut back and allow them. I'll draft it if that's what everyone in council wants, but I just want you to understand what it is something that says you can, but really you can't. So, if anybody wants to either comment on it now or individually to me, or you have any other thoughts, but that's what I'm planning to bring back, because that's what I've been told to bring back. So just all be clear on that. So let me ask if I might, Mayor, if there's anyone who has anything to add on that, and if they're not, I'll move on to my final point. Okay. There was a matter that came up at a meeting over the summer, and it was one I was not present. And I've had the opportunity since to consult with Plus Urbia and see the staff report. I will remind you it has to do with a driveway. The resident's name is Mian, and it was apparently quite lengthy and quite controversial. As I understand that issue, and I've spent some time and I've talked to counsel for the other side, I don't want to particularly get into the issue of whether or not the approvals that were given by the village were confusing to the resident, because I don't think the village, I'll say for the record, I don't think the village did anything wrong. Having said that, apparently the issue is that in our new code, there is simply nothing that permits artificial turf. It's not forbidden. If it was prohibited, that would be easy to understand, because it says you can't do this. We're saying, apparently, well, there's nothing that allows it, and therefore you can't do it. And that may in fact be our position. There are issues that go to things like pervious area and whether or not artificial turf is in fact pervious, but my understanding is that the resident is prepared to construct using kind of a checkerboard that will have patches of artificial turf some areas that will be pervious, so pervious area won't be a problem. So to try to get this to a head, my intention would be to work with the applicant, with the resident, to seek a variance. It doesn't mean that we abandon the code position, and frankly, it doesn't necessarily require us to take such an action at any time in the future, because every situation is different. So what I'm going to do would be to work with the applicant, with the staff, and with our planners, and prepare a variance application. I don't mean to imply by that for a moment that the council needs to approve that variance. But as far as how to present it to you so that the council can consider it, and just, right now the resident has been frozen. And it's gone on for too long. So my plan is to work with her to have a variance presented, it would go to P&Z. P&Z can do what it will, and it'll come to you. If you think it's not something we should grant under the circumstances of this case, then you vote it down and the resident knows they can't go forward. If you think that allowing it in this case would be okay, under all the circumstances, that'll be your privilege. But I do want to tell you that the notion that if we do it once, we must do it all the time, in my opinion, is not true. That's why they're called variances. You don't have to grant them, and every case, in my opinion, is different. So unless someone has a problem with that approach, that's the solution, at least, to be able to bring it in front of you and let you vote up or down. And again, unless there's somebody who has a different thought or an objection, I just want to, this is my opportunity to get some guidance from you, and I'll proceed on that front unless there are other comments or questions. That concludes my report.
I have a question. The variance you're going to propose is a variance allowing her the AstroTurf?
Yes.
The variance that she will be applying for, she has to pay for?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Madam Mayor, may I make just an addition to that? There are two issues with that particular permit. One is that the driveway itself doesn't meet the zoning code, and we had advised the applicant that a variance was one of her options.
Well, I thought she'd already agreed to narrow it, right? Wasn't it? It was too wide, and she agreed to narrow it?
It doesn't meet the zoning code in any way, shape, or form. And that's a result of some of the permitting process issues. And because of that situation, we had discussed with her that, because of the situation she was in with the village, that we would support a variance application to legalize the driveway. So that's one issue, and that still stands. She did reduce the size of her driveway, but it still does not meet the zoning code.
In what manner, if I can ask?
The dimensions and the layout. So the driveway currently takes up the entire width of her front yard. It's almost 80 feet long. And the code says that your driveway can only be 12 feet wide.
And what was the reduction that she agreed to?
She agreed to, it used to be about 30 feet wide by 80 feet long, and she reduced it to be about 20 feet wide by 80 feet long.
Those would be two separate variances, one for the dimensions and a separate variance for the AstroTurf.
And the AstroTurf, there were two issues with the AstroTurf as well. One was that her driveway is these sort of poured concrete pieces with AstroTurf in between. And we've had numerous requests for this AstroTurf strip in between. It's not specifically allowed by the code. The code is very specific about the materials allowed for a driveway, and AstroTurf is not one of them. However, we understand just in terms of practical maintenance of these tiny strips in between that it probably makes more sense to do AstroTurf than regular sod that dies quickly. So we did discuss with her, and we said that would be okay in this case. However, separately, the applicant proceeded to roll out AstroTurf over the entire front yard, and that was never part of any permit application. So that actually, the driveway, we had sort of resolved with her and agreed on the variance moving forward. It was the AstroTurf that kind of got us frozen
That's because the driveway stops at a certain portion coming up to the house, and then there's all this
There's still
astroturf.
yard,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
She has
There's still
maybe
yard.
30 feet of yard
Yeah.
between the house and the driveway.
And let me just say, Mayor, that, nothing in my discussion with them was that the village would contemplate allowing a driveway that's the entire front yard. That's, I mean, they can apply for it if that's what they want to ask for, but I certainly am not going to be in support of that. As far as the AstroTurf, my understanding was that it would be in the strips that Plus Urbia has raised and talked about. Whether if that's not what they seek, again, that'll be commended to your sound judgment, but I think that also raises an issue in terms of pervious area, and that is a very important issue, while our engineer is here, for water recharge and things like that. It's one thing to permit that kind of checkerboard pattern, but it's a completely different thing to say that there's no water that's going to be able to penetrate the entire front yard. So we'll work with them together with our planners, and ultimately they'll choose what they're going to ask for, but my inclination, at least, would be to recommend to you that allowing a variance, I'm not suggesting at this point that you change the code and start saying that anybody can use AstroTurf as they see fit. There are some unique circumstances here, and if the checkerboard design is one of them, then perhaps you may be willing to accept that. If they choose to ask for more than that, I think they'll be requesting that of you without staff or legal support for it, but the bottom line is neither staff nor the attorney votes on those things. That'll be up to you, but I'm going to certainly urge them to do something that can hopefully get staff and legal support. But either way, let them ask for what they're going to ask for. We'll get it to the committee. We'll get it to a vote, and it won't be in limbo any longer. It'll come to you, and you can dispose of it as you see fit.
May I ask a
And that
question?
concludes my statement.
Thank you, Attorney Geller. Yes, Councilperson?
So what's the state of it right now? Is that, what do you call it?
She does,
They
she
were-
has
they were- They were cited.
Okay, they
The
were
only
cited.
thing that's happened is
the driveway.
that they were cited because what they were doing is against the code. Well, that's true, but there was really nothing to come in front of you. That's why there was no vote. There was just apparently a very lengthy discussion that didn't have a resolution because the only official action after issuing permits was that they were cited by code enforcement. So if you legalize the code violation in this one circumstance by granting a variance, whatever that variance is, then that will solve the code problem and they can complete their construction. If you decline to grant a variance, then whatever the consequences are to them, they have to comply with the code unless and until they file suit against us and seek a determination that under the facts and circumstances here, including the permits that were issued to them, that the village cannot enforce that code against them. They're privileged to file the lawsuit if they want to. I mean, it's one of the wonderful things about this country is we have an independent judiciary, and people have the right to go to court and have an impartial arbiter decide whether they're right or wrong. So they may choose that option. If we can reach a middle common ground with them that will allow them to move forward with some parts of it and bring it to conclusion, that would be great. But again, that depends on what variance they seek and how the council decides to dispose of it. But right now, there's not really been a variance application. What there is they got certain permits,
artificial turf down?
No.
No,
No.
it was laid down, they were cited because they did not have any permit for the artificial turf, like the whole yard, and they rolled it back up as soon as
So
they
it's
were
been
cited,
rolled
so
back.
it was
Yeah.
removed.
At current, but we still, the situation is out there, and we need to just, one way or another, it has to come to the council. We have to give you something to vote on, and whatever that outcome is, they can either comply with it, or they can seek redress in the courts.
Any other questions for the attorney?
Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
I have one. I just want to be certain that, because in the past, in past years, sometimes when people apply for a variance, they apply for it with like kind of an understanding in their own personal mind, like applying for the variance is kind of like their first step to approval. And I remember years going past, it started to become a problem every once in a while. I don't know, I think the mayor might remember some of this, Councilperson Mathis, that people would pay for the variance, apply for the variance, pay for the variance, and it was something that was like against what we would allow, and therefore we would deny it. And it was kind of getting to a point where sometimes people were getting upset, well, then why the hell did you guys make me go through this whole thing and pay for this variance if you guys knew it was totally against what you guys wanted anyway? And we started to come up into that, and that's when we were like, man, sooner or later, we're gonna have to find somebody or a company or something like that that knows our best interests and therefore can kind of tell them, look, this is not, what we want to do. This is not in our code. This is not what we want to do, so that they don't even have to waste their money and time applying for the variance because we already would have told them. So I just want to make sure that they know that this variance is not the first step to approval. This is kind of like a gamble, and they're taking a chance with this.
Well, that's why we have.
That's why we hold preserve,
That's what I'm
exactly.
saying.
That's how we advise them.
That's what I mean.
That in this case, they are blessed with extremely capable counsel. I
Okay.
know their lawyer very well. He knows his way around. I'm sure that the advice he's going to give the client is going to be accurate
Okay.
advice in this case. And,
So that brings clarity. See, that's what because there was something missing here.
It
I
may
was
still
like,
be a
okay.
problem
I see
for
what you're
other
saying.
people.
I got you.
But in this case, they've got very capable counsel,
I got
and
you.
hopefully their capable counsel will also advise them
I
to
got you.
accept a reasonable solution that allows them to do some of what they want to do, but doesn't turn everything in our code on its head,
I got you.
allowing the AstroTurf, which is not prohibited, though it's not specifically permitted, in some reasonable configuration, as Proserbia has also recommended, is one thing. Making the entire front yard non-pervious is quite a difference.
Yeah, I got you. Which now it brings a little bit more clarity, and that's what I was saying. I was going through that story to say we hired Proserbia just for this, and now it's kind of like we're going back into the same weeds, and so that was confusing for me a
Well, no,
little bit.
because I think that people are still can come up and present a variance if they wish to, and we have the opportunity to look at it. And
For sure.
I think we looked at a couple variances a couple of months ago, and each case is different.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just wanted people to be to understand exactly what a variance is, because before it didn't seem like people were really clear exactly what a variance was all about.
Professional planners properly advise people that there's no guarantees of what action the council ultimately takes, whether staff approves or opposes. That's one of the reasons you have professional planners instead of simply a clerk that tells people fill out these papers and takes them without clarifying.
Thank you.
And also to clarify for this particular application, we never would have advised this particular case to come forward for variance. The reason they're coming for variance is because they were issued a permit without zoning review.
I got you.
That's the issue. And
It would've never
those
gotten this far.
dimensions never would have
Yeah.
been approved, but they were.
Um,
That
and-
is
and
at
it-
that's their
least a
yes.
potential
It somehow,
problem
yes.
for
It
the
did it-
village
Yes.
in litigation, though I will
steps
say
were missed.
again for the record, I believe the village did nothing wrong, and we're prepared to defend that position should that prove necessary, but hopefully it will not prove necessary.
Before closing on this topic, just real quick, I mean, she lives in a short block, and just about every single resident on her block is really, they will be here as it relates to AstroTurf. So just something to note as you're going to be there with her, speaking with them, okay? Okay, so let's move forward, thank you.
Just ask, I'm sorry, when you say anti-AstroTurf, anti-having them cover the entire front yard?
In
or
between
They don't
just
want it.
just the presence of
They
AstroTurf
don't want it.
takes away from being Tree City USA, sort of who we are. They are just, and she lives in a little corridor. She lives right across from Marlene Whitaker.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for your full report, Attorney Geller. Although there is no unfinished business and new business, there's 3 points I want to close on if the council will give me the pleasure. Number one, I will be emailing the clerk at some point this week. We will have a turkey giveaway. I don't have the exact date yet. This is the time generally that I email the clerk and ask the council what committees they would like to serve on for the new year. Committees do change. The thought has crossed my mind to potentially leave them the way they are. If you really want a change and chair another committee, email the clerk and she'll forward it to me. And I'm gonna review it for consideration, but my thought process potential to keep them the way they are with one minor change. But again, if you are anxious to serve on a particular committee as chair, please email the clerk. Last point is, since Hurricane Irma, one of the things I really wanted to do was a town hall. A town hall where the council would be sort of the panel along with the acting chief, the interim manager, and our clerk, and have an open forum and allow the residents to come in and ask questions. You know, when they come to meeting, we talk, and we have an agenda, and we're not able to have that dialogue in an open sunshine format. While Hurricane Irma brought the best in so many people, Hurricane Irma has also brought out a lot of anonymous letters, and I want to address all of them at that town hall. So I don't have the date yet. I'll be emailing the clerk, but it's one that I want everyone here as it relates to who's sitting on this dais right now, because I want the public to be able to come in and ask any of us any questions in an open forum. So I will be looking at some dates. I didn't think that the cleanup would, go all the way into the end of November. But I believe it's very important as we move into a new year. We have a lot of things going on, and we can't allow these distractions that are ridiculous at best to get in the way of the progress that we've made, because I believe we've made a lot of progress, and we have so much more to do in 2018. So with that said, I will be setting some dates to the clerk. At this time, if anybody in Good and Welfare would like to come up, this is the time to go over anything on the agenda that has been discussed.
Marilyn Brooks, 400 Northeast 90th Street. It's just a quick question. At one of the committee meetings, I made a recommendation about the ramp. What are we doing about it, if so? The handicap ramp?
You want to dedicate it to the former Mayor Black?
Yes.
Absolutely. I think we brought it up at Admin and at the Public Affairs, Admin and Finance. We can bring it up, and I thought it would be something that I thought we talked about that it was something that we can do in conjunction with the 80th anniversary. We can definitely. I don't remember if that was said, but that's an idea that I was going to bring to the committee. So I know Councilperson Mathis wants to have a special committee talking about the 80th anniversary that we'll make public, and we'll bring it up to be able to identify a plaque and put the plaque on the ramp as a dedicated to Mayor Black.
Dedication.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Any other public comments? Good and Welfare? Okay, hearing none. May I have a motion for adjournment?
Move a motion.
Councilperson Mathis has moved for adjournment. It's been seconded by Councilperson Dre. All in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, our council meeting on Tuesday, October 24th adjourns at 8:27 PM. Thank you.